Naoufel, would you like to introduce yourself for a second to the community?
Mhm. So yes, hello, I'm naoufel. I've been working in data analytics for now about 5, 6 years. It was mostly in the financial sector. I've been involved with actually the European Central Bank, so I was mostly monitoring securities, investment funds around the European Union to try and manage a bit more our monetary policy in the European institutions. Now I have to try and improve the data strategy at Inverse. We are quite growing recently. So it means that there is a lot more work for me and that I need to structurize and organize a little bit more how we deal with data, how we request it, and how we interact basically with each other. So I could maybe start what's how I see at least the purpose of the analytics and analytics working group. For me, it's clearly to improve the decision making in the other business areas. We have data almost everywhere in blockchain environment. It's really accessible, but it can be sometimes hard to match because of the privacy or let's say anonymity of addresses and protocols. I think that our analytics department should centralize any tools and data set that other business areas in Inverse, in marketing, risk, growth, could access it seamlessly and also while minimizing data and dimension complexity. That means for me that if I would put some data available, I try usually to make it the most understandable to anyone that accesses it, so they don't have to come up with too many questions when they receive it, and that's the meaning is pretty straightforward. For statistics, I think, for analytics, I see it mostly as a service and customer-oriented area. That means that basically when someone contacts me and needs some data, we need to just specify what we exactly need while trying to minimize the burden and double working. Right now, I would say our analytics are mainly based on Dune analytics. It's it's a tool that I really value. It's super flexible. You can query it in SQL, which is a database-oriented language. It's really something that you use a lot in data science, and it makes it really optimal to dig, match the data a bit everywhere. You don't have to use Web3 APIs, or it's really smooth, actually. The only thing is that you just need maybe a 24, 48 hours time lag before indexing your contract. One of the biggest problems that we have right now with Dune is the fact that we don't have access to phantom data, and they don't have as well an API that would allow us to really scale on blockchain analysis, and we could use it also for API. So that's why recently I was thinking more about the graph as a new way to obtain our data. It's more distributed. There is no single endpoint as in Fura. And in the end, it would be mostly similar with what we could construct with Python and an Amazon Web Services endpoint API. But in the later case, it wouldn't be so much distributed. Why I haven't been starting to build on Python and Amazon Web Services is pretty easy, is because usually when you work with data, a lot of the solution that you will start to implement will be very hard to get rid of. It means that the people will get used to work with it, and then you will have a huge issue in moving from one infrastructure to the other. That's why I would like to come up with clean basis using the graph. About the challenges, I think my main challenge at the moment is that we are really growing consistently. So I'm receiving a lot of data requests from all the different areas: marketing, PR, risk, treasury, growth. And I'm a bit still on my own to manage all of that data flow. There is some areas that request more investigative work than the other. Like I'm mostly thinking about risk right now. And deadlines also are not the same. What I mean is that risk will usually need an analysis pretty quick because there is some move to be done on the market, and all of this has to be prioritized. Looking ahead, I think we should try to find or develop internally some skills. I don't know if some people in the attendance are familiar with Python or SQL coding languages, but I think if some people are interested to collaborating on that, I will be very happy to integrate more people in the flow. I would like also to minimize all the recurring workload by listing reports that are regularly used. And actually, I think after this meeting, the first action point on that would be to circulate a survey to all of you guys, so I can actually get a better glimpse of what you are expecting, what you regularly use, what's the frequency of the reporting that you need, and all of that will really help you on a more smooth way. That's all for my intro. So I think if some of you guys have any question about one point or the other, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, naoufel, this is Pat. I was wondering if you could just say a few more words about the graph and
Yeah.
maybe explain it to the people who don't spend a lot of time on analytics. Why is this interesting? What can it do for inverse? And what does it mean for us potentially?
Yes, so I mean, some of you might have already realized that working with blockchain, you have in Web3 in general, the main issue is indexing. That means you won't have a way to reach your data in a stabilized and indexed way. The graph is basically, it's what they offer. They are solving the indexing problem of the Web3, and they allow us to actually host our API on a distributed way across market participants that are called indexers. What does that mean? That means that from one day to the other, if Infura is closing, you will just go on the web page of most of the crypto project that you know, and you will not have access to any information. Everything will be just blurred, no access to data, because they're all using Infura. But if you are using a distributed way, that what the graph is offering, then it doesn't mean anything. If one of your indexers is going down, then the other are taking the relay. It's exactly the same way than miners or the Ethereum is distributed across the network. So there is a really strong decentralized aspect to be considered into this. And that's why I actually want to integrate it in the long-term strategy.
Great. Yeah, sorry about that. Something came up. But actually, briefly, can you go over the proposal, like a TLDR, for people about like what you're looking for the analytics working group proposal?
Yes, this TLDR will be just to formalize the commitment of analytics into Inverse, as we already have with many with different departments like growth, marketing, and maybe to try to attract a bit more contributors from the outside.
Great. And what do you think the benefits are of an analytic working group to Inverse?
Well, as I was explaining, it would be to maybe work in a more proceduralized way than just reaching out and see if one contributor can just provide the data. And if we have it, then we can move forward. If we don't have it, then we can still move forward, but without the data. It would be to have something a bit more structurized, so we can actually take decision on a very informed way, and that we are more confident in moving forward. So that's my vision about the analytics working group, is really that it is a service-oriented area. We have to work all together on that, and to try to find the more seamless way to do it.
And do you have some people from the graph, you said, that could help out with this initiative?
Yes, I have been in touch with someone from the graph community that would act as a consultant with us. So he has been already having a look at at a mapping I have deployed, which was actually a fork of the compound graph that I managed to make work because it was broken. So he is currently having a look at it. My ambition is really to extend it, because currently our graph that I have been putting into place is only focused on Anchor. I would really like it to expand, to integrate more addresses, more token, more transaction, more contracts, so we can actually have a more holistic views on the project, where our capital is going, who is selling, who is actually being using the project.
Great. So in terms of, do you have anything you'd like to say before we start opening up the Q&A? I'm trying to find the proposal so I can link it in the stage chat.
Yeah, I really would like to stress that if anyone is having any skills with databases, SQL, MySQL, whatever, then just reach out, and I'm sure we can find a way to integrate you and to work together on that.
Great, great. I'm still trying to find the proposal. Do you have the link for that actually?
Let me have a look. Ethics working group proposal. I got it. I'm sending you the link.
Yep. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the proposal in the stage chat, and then we'd definitely like to welcome any questions and concerns or anything you want to bring up in regard to this proposal, or if you see any way in which it can be improved. And feel free to share any questions that you might have in the stage chat.
Mhm.
So stage chat. Right here. Also, if anyone wants to come up and talk, feel free. It's always nice to have people around.
So, Nufo, it sounds like there could be a couple different opportunities for people to get involved. I guess there are obviously people who know Python or people who know SQL, but what about the people who are not hard developers or even soft developers? Are there opportunities in analytics for them to contribute in some way?
Yes, actually, right now the first step of analytics is of course to get all of the data together, to have some kind of silos where we could just go and straight access the data. But on a midterm view, I would like to actually compile more, let's say, wordy analysis about the protocol, where we could actually draft a research article and seeing a bit what's going around. So even if you are not so techy, but you have kind of a background in financial analysis, it will be super useful to use this kind of skills.
Right, looking for the proposal right now.
All right. Apparently, everything that I just said. Could you hear me, or
Yes, we can hear you.
answer?
We can hear you.
Okay, so I was just saying that actually it's not so much about being techy. So I am more seeing on the midterm when we manage to have all of this data a bit more structure and where a user can just go and access it a lot more easily. To plan and develop a bit more our research analytics department, where we could actually have more market analysis about what's going on with Olympus, with use, or whatever. So if some people have more financial analytics background, these are more financial analysts, even if you don't have any specific coding skills, please reach out, because I'm sure we could integrate you in more research paper about what's going around in Inverse.
Yeah.
I also know
So
there's some, I was going to say, I also know there's some early work going on to analyze our existing customers. Cryptorist and Nakamomo are both doing a little thinking about this. And a lot of this is on chain and sort of, for example, analyzing wallet behavior, what other protocols do our users interact with, and what sort of things can we infer about user behavior based on those sorts of analytics. Probably a really good application for the graph, actually. But there are quite a lot of marketing aspects to this. I know we've talked about social media and just online marketing analytics, which probably isn't as mission critical as some of these other areas we're working on. But for those that have an interest in sort of digging into how well we're performing or not performing in social media, for instance, that's an area where I know we just could use more eyes out there looking around for us and helping us to sort of just be aware of it at a minimum.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. That's what I was actually talking about, the fact that I need to survey all of you guys to know what are exactly your data needs, what the frequency and all of that, so I can actually prioritize. And like, for example, if I just have like an hour or two to work on that, then I can prioritize on more small things. If I have a full day, then of course it could be risk analysis. Or I actually had a call today with Crypteris and Nakao about the user screening.
Excellent.
I would say it's actually there is so much information available with with the blockchain that it's quite hard to have a holistic view from the start, because the data is really multiple. Usually, when you are dealing with statistics, you always have, let's say, two level, like, or you deal with the macro statistics or you deal with the micro statistics. Because the data is very available, so first you need to know all the protocols where you are going to dig it from. So it means that you need to have at least a bit of skills or understanding how the different protocols are working. So for example, if I want to know everything that is listed on Uniswap or SushiSwap, then I need to know mostly how the SushiSwap pools are working and how it's centralized, how I can retrieve it. Uh, and also, the second point is that if I am digging data about every customers, very fast it becomes something super heavy that crash, because I am actually asking too much for the from the system to get the data. So what I think is useful is that we try to isolate a bit more, also for the users, if we want to target them, what we are really looking at. Because, for example, I'm just taking the example for today. I was working with Olympus Pro bonds for the redeems. Um, you realize that there is some people that are just classically redeeming the bond and then with another transaction just taking it or selling it or whatever. But you have more experienced users that are actually just processing everything in one transaction. So for me, it doesn't mean the same thing when I am working with that, and that I need to. It's really ant work. Sometimes you have to go line by line, seeing if everything is going the same way than the other, and sometimes you find outliers. So it's really something super time consuming to work on that. So that's why I think we should take a step back and see what does everyone need, so I can fulfill these needs the more effectively possible.
Yeah, sounds great. I know Crypto sort of raised his hand. I'm trying to invite him, but he doesn't seem on. Are you not able to see the invite request? Just
Yeah, I see it, and it says
oh yeah,
in.
yeah, because we've been sending the invite to him, but then I don't think it's working for some reason.
No worries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to put in the stage chat about the proposal. I'll give everyone a minute to take a look at it.
Yeah, so Nufo, I think you are putting in some budget for contributor rewards. So for community members that want to get involved, I think there's an opportunity for some DOLA compensation.
Absolutely, yeah. I was stressed. I think it was by Nakamomo that I forgot to include this kind of contribution. I think it's been mainly because I was contributing on my own from the beginning, and it's the kind of priority that I forgot. But yes, I have included some amount of inf, so we could reward one-off contribution. I think at the current stage, anyone that want to dive in and try to extract some data with me would be very welcome. But then on the midterm, also maybe contributing to research article or analysis could be rewarded this way.
Okay, so Nakamomo asks, what analytics services are worth outsourcing?
Sorry?
You hear me? Nufo?
Nufo, we're having trouble hearing you.
What analytics services are worth outsourcing?
Yes.
Hmm, that's actually a good question. Um, I think with my experience is because I'm also working in the field, is that usually learning is a process, and if you learn a bit about analytics and how to handle that, we can save a lot of money because it costs a lot. Specifically, if we go through, I don't know, I'm taking the example of marketing, but if we go to a marketing company which is just doing advertisement on Twitter or whatever, I don't think we will earn so much value from them. So they provide us with this data than actually trying to develop it by ourselves. I think we are in the DAO, and actually outsourcing has a very similar components with insourcing. So you don't really know if the contributors is actually acting from inside or the outside. Right now, I have outsourced, let's say, the graph part. I've tried to contact some people in the graph community, and it's because I didn't have the TypeScript skills on the fly to be able to build it myself. But hopefully, my ideal is that we manage to attract these competencies inside, and we don't have to outsource anything. Thanks for the question, Nakamomo.
Looks like you answered this question. All right. So, Nufa, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you or to sort of come in and start a conversation about getting involved in analytics?
So we have the analytics channels. If you are a bit shy to go on the outside, like I can be sometime, then just DM me directly, and I'm sure we can work something out bilaterally.
All right. And not to put you on the spot, but do you think you'll be doing calls like this in the future, maybe on some, I don't know, every week or two or something like that for people to hear more about analytics?
Well, I think it can be actually interesting to develop on more specific topics, like I was mentioning earlier. For example, having a research analytics workflow ongoing would be super interesting. Then strategically, I mean, I could of course do some updates when the graph is moving a bit more onward. Right now, it's quite hard for me to plan on this analytics calls, but of course, if the community or I mean, okay, to be clear, I think it should be very interesting to have more of bilateral calls, like for example, what can do analytics for marketing or what can do analytics for risk, and this would be, in my opinion, a lot more pointful than just doing a general analytics call regularly.
No, great idea. I agree. All right. Any other hands?
No questions? Let's call. Personally, I think it's a very good proposal. It's like very reasonable ones, and it's not like Newfield is asking for much.
No, I agree.
I think this is a very like reasonable start to getting like our proper structure for our analytic working group.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Very important for so many parts of the DAO. So I'm really glad this is happening.
And actually, I see that we have Mayors on the call that should help us with rebuilding the graph. So maybe that Mayors want to raise his hand and say something, or maybe I just don't want to put you on the spot, Mayors. Yes. Can we allow the request to speak?
I just invited him. He raised his hand.
Yeah, okay. I see.
Okay. All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Mayors?
Welcome. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet everyone. I'm sorry, I joined late. I didn't know. I just saw a notification. I thought I'll listen in. Yeah, I just started working on. I just started going through the inverse subgraph. Super excited to see uh, what we can do with that and like more analytics on top of it. So I'm pretty new to the community, so I'm gonna, but I have a lot of experience in the graph, building subgraphs and things like that. So I'll have a lot of questions because I'm new to the inverse ecosystem here. So I'll be bothering a lot of you if you are in the analytics channel.
Please bother us.
No, it's awesome. I think the graph sounds very cool. I think we have so many data needs, so many analytics needs that if this gets us there faster, I think it's awesome. It reminds me of the early days of Google, Sergey and Larry. So that's kind of what it feels like, something very important.
Nice to be part of that if it ever becomes that big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for coming up the stage, Mayosh. And actually, I think that your work should be super valuable once we can plug that with Google Data Studio. It's actually a tool that I have been finding very impressive for the capability and the flexibility for web display of data. So I think we can really do something killing on that.
Great. All right.
Thanks for putting this together, naoufel. And I assume we're going to start advancing the proposal through governance. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that should be the plan.
Okay. Let's do it.
Great. Do you have an idea of when this proposal is going live?
I think the proposal is already put up, so I just think I need to contact one of the delegates or my own delegate, Zeno, so we can actually push it on.
Yeah. All right. Sounds great. So the analytics working proposal will be going live soon. For more information, we will be having the community call again this Friday. We sort of didn't do it last Friday because of the situation in Ukraine, but we are looking to get that started up again.
Mhm.
And yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Appreciate you coming here to listen.
Yeah,
Is there anything
thanks
else
everyone.
that's on the speech?